3.5 months of 2016. How are you spending your time? The majority of your time, your precious little time, how are you really spending it on this earth? See, and for me, the craziest part about my life to date is that it took me getting invited to this, not even knowing what I'm coming to meet the first person in my life that cared enough to teach me how to design a life instead of get a job. Everybody else I ever met wanted to teach me how to get a job. And I didn't want a job. I am anti-job. I am pro-paycheck. But I am anti-job. Okay?
Pro-paycheck.
I want to teach you how to design a life so you don't have to make choices like everybody who has a job. Because here's how everybody who has a job makes choices. It's always off of 2 factors. Do I have enough money to do it, or do I have enough time to do it? That's how every choice has to be made. What if I could teach you how to design a life so you can make choices based off of 1 factor? Do you want to do it or not? Time and money are no obstacle. Check this out. The last 100 vacations I have taken, I booked one-way tickets and I stayed till I was bored. 100 in a row. And every time I was bored and I was done with that vacation, there was always more money in my bank account than when I left the first time. I can't spend it fast enough when I'm on vacation as it comes in from everybody else working around the world. What would that feel like? What would it be like if there was nobody that told you where you had to be anymore? Nobody that told you what you had to wear? Nobody that told you when you got to eat lunch? Nobody that told you how much vacation time you got? What if you really got to own your life? That's what I want for you. That's what I'm here to teach. And I need to start you right now at the very beginning. What we're looking for in Indiana is contacts. This might be the biggest untapped state in all of America. You're right in the center of it. And who's going to win here is whoever shows the most people as fast as possible. So it's not about who you are, it's about who do you know. We need to start with your top 10. Who are the top 10 people right now? If I gave you $1 million, you would have the most fun splitting it with. I would show those 10 people in 48 hours. As fast as possible, show the people you love, give them the first shot. From there, you got to build your list. So if you want a little bit of money, it's a little bit of contacts. If you want a lot of money, it's a lot of contacts. To get what I got, it took 200. I know not everybody wants what I got, but I'm just going to tell you, if you want the big money, it was 200 names on a sheet of paper. First name, last name, phone number. I know 200 sounds like a lot, but it's a scientific fact. By the age of 21, you know 1,000 people by their first name, according to Robert Kiyosaki. Here's the catch. To get what I got, you're not allowed to prejudge them. And I know what you all did, because I did the same thing. I remember sitting in your chair my first night, and I was like, man, I got this one girl. She travels all the time. She's going to do it for sure. She didn't do it. And I was like, man, I got this one guy. He knows everybody. He didn't do it. But then there was other people I hesitated to call because I didn't think they had the money, and they ended up being some of my top producers. There was other people I thought were too successful. In Simpsonville, South Carolina, before lunch one day, we signed up 3 senators on this team. So I don't think there's anybody in your cell phone that's too successful for World Ventures. So instead of trying to play God, instead of trying to be a psychic friend and decide who's going to say yes and who's going to say no, why don't we just show them all and let them decide for themselves? So I want you tonight to accept my challenge. Here's my challenge to you. Before you go to bed tonight, not tomorrow, because procrastination is the assassin of opportunity. Before you go to bed tonight, when you're excited, when you're feeling good about this business, I want you to shut your brain off. Now that's going to be the easy part for some of you. Brain off, phone on, okay? So brain off, phone on, and I want you to go to your contacts. And I want you to write down every name in here, but you're not allowed to think. I don't care who they are. I don't care if they're 8 years old. If they're in this phone, you're writing that little sucker down. First name, last name, phone number. When the list is done, I want you to go to the top, and I want you to write the 2 most important letters in this company, SW. Then here's what I want you to do. Hold yourself accountable. I don't care if you've been doing this company for 1.5 years. If you've never made your list and sent it to somebody, you've never started. So I want you to take a photo of that list when it's done and send it to everybody you know in this room. Everybody whose phone number you have, and say, I'm ready to run. You help me, I'll help you. See all those people that stood up and talked? They got hundreds. Some have thousands on their team. So they can't help everybody. You know what they do, though? They look for people that deserve it. And then they help them on a one-on-one basis. Okay, so the first step of getting their attention and having them help you personally, I promise you, just make your list, send it to them, and say, I'm ready to run. You help me, I'll help you. SW means this. Some will, some won't, so what? Who cares? This industry in network marketing creates a ton of first-time millionaires. You're currently staring at one. You want to know what else it does? It creates a ton of failures. It's a double-edged sword. Told you I was going to tell you the truth, right? when I learned that, I asked the question, why do people fail? Anybody know how you fail at World Ventures? There's only one option.
Quit.
Quit. That's it. When you join tonight, you're joining a family. You're in, you're in. You can be the worst rep in this company. We will not fire you. It's good news for some of you. When you're in, you're in. Okay? So the only way you're going to fail here is because you quit. People quit my team every single day. So what? As I'm doing this talk, I will bet you somebody somewhere in this world is quitting my team. So what? There's 1,000 people quitting McDonald's today. 1,000 people. Does anybody think the president of McDonald's is in his office right now freaking out about it? Do you think he's got his guys around him? He's like, uh-oh, guys. 6-year-old Chelsea in Indiana's quitting today. What do you think we should do? Should we shut it down? Or do you think he just replaces her without even noticing and understands a quitter's one job in life is to quit? A winner's job is to replace a quitter with somebody better and never think about a quitter ever again. So I was cool with that. But I was like, the only way to fail is to quit. Why do people quit? And that answer is interesting. The numbers you fail, numbers you quit, and I hope you don't. But if you do, I know why. It's because your feelings get hurt. That's why people quit this business. Now, I was one of those people who want to make a bunch of money fast. You know what my first question was? When do I get paid? Here's the way it works, just so you know. Whatever you do between right now and Friday at midnight, there'll be a check waiting for you when you wake up in your bank account next Friday. And I was like, prove it. I want a great big check. Anybody else next Friday want to roll out of bed, pull up their bank account on their phone, and just see World Ventures just go kaboom right in the bank account? That can happen for everybody in this room, even if you started right now. But what you got to do when you walk out these doors is you got to start taking the results. You got to start taking the yeses and the nos. You got to take OPOs, other people's opinions, and you got to detach yourself from it emotionally. I look at myself like a waiter. You got Applebee's around here?
Yep.
Everybody's got Applebee's. Except for Hibbing, Minnesota, where I'm from. Anyway, so if we went to Applebee's after this, you guys want to know what happened? As soon as we were done eating, our waitress come rushing up to our table. Every time I've ever been to Applebee's. And she always gives us this big smile, and she goes like this. Hey, did you guys save any room for dessert? And what do you say to her face every time? No, go give me a box.
Yes.
Does she care?
Yes.
So you can tell your waitress no, and she doesn't care. My waitresses care. Every time I go to Applebee's and I tell them no, emotionally they're crushed because I told them no. So what they do is they take a chair. And the oldest successful person in this company lets the haters be the motivators. And it just makes us go harder. And I had this 4-hour drive home, and that was the first time in my life I quit caring if my friend said yes or no. And I looked at my list like a deck of cards. And I said, you know what? In those 200 cards, there's got to be some deuces. And my broke brother-in-law was a deuce. And guess what? Your deuces are coming too. And when your deuces come, you thank God. Because if there weren't deuces, there couldn't be aces. And I saw the same presentation you did. There's only 2 teams, right? So the way I looked at it is we're all 2 aces away from financial freedom. The second you sign up, you're 2 good people away, one on your left and one on your right, and you never work another day in your life. So what I have to teach you how to do is to flip your cards. I got to teach you how to get butts in these seats. I have to teach you how to become a professional inviter. I got to teach you the 5-step invite. This is the only thing I've ever done. This is the only thing I've ever taught our team. This is what I would write down and just read to people. So if I was calling Austin, the first words out of my mouth, the first step is to be in a hurry. So I do it like this. Hey, Austin, real quick. Real quick is step 1. Ladies, we want to know about the husband and the kids. I promise you we care about that stuff. Just not on this phone call, okay? This is a business call. If this call is lasting longer than 45 seconds, you're doing it wrong. If you're texting, you're doing it wrong. If you're Facebooking or emailing, you're doing it wrong. This is a voice business because if you're texting, you can't hang up on them. And if it will last longer than 45 seconds. So I go real quick. That's step 1. Step 2, clear the date. What are you doing tonight at 7? I said tonight. You never call people more than 24 hours before you want to meet them. If you call them longer than 24 hours, you will have a 25% show-up rate. Austin's got 2 options. Number 1, he could say, he's busy. He's got the kids. That's called a loss. What's his only other option? He's free. That's called a win. That's all I care about. That's all that matters to me. The number 1 income earner in the state of Indiana will be the person who walks out these doors and gets the most wins every day. Who can call the most people tomorrow and just say, real quick, what are you doing tonight at 7? They say nothing. That's called a win. More wins you get right there, more butts you get in the seats. I got a rule. More butts you gets in the seats, the more monies you makes. Because if you got a butt in the seat, didn't I do everything else for you tonight?
Yep.
So we are a team. You bag them, we tag them. That is our deal, okay? So where you screw it up is when you lose. You go real quick, what do you got going on tonight at 7? And they go, oh, I got the kids. Untrained people lose, and they turn into beggars. They sound like this. What do you do tomorrow? What do you do next day? You got online? Can I come over? And you start begging people to see information. Here's the problem. People don't follow beggars. People only follow leaders. Now, if you've already screwed this up, it's okay. You leave here and you screw this up, it's okay. I was terrible in the beginning. Just don't be a quitter and you'll get better. This is what I did. You would have laughed at me. I said, real quick, what do you got going on at 9-7? My friends go, oh, I got the kids. Well, I was so fired up, I used to go like this. No, you don't. You gotta come see what I just saw. It's World Ventures. It's travel. There's right legs, left legs, BMWs. Nobody's heard of this. We're all getting rich. Blah. And I ran out of here, and you verbally vomit all over your friends. And you know what your friends do? Pop! Remember I talked about those feelings that get hurt? Where it occurs is when you leave here and try to explain what you just saw. Here's why. What you just saw was a movie. Have any ever gone to a movie and went home and tried to explain the movie to somebody? I got a question. Does the person you're explaining the movie to have the same experience you had by going? Okay, here's the game. Here's the entire day you start, you and I get the same videos. We get the same prices. We got the same exact comp plan. I've just been doing it a little longer. I just cooked my snowball 8 years ago, and you got to kick yours tonight and give it some time to grow. But if you're willing to go out there and do the work and do the repetition, the only difference between our story, my story, and your story is time and repetition. Here's what I'll leave you with. In Indiana right now, we need some pioneers. I know there's some of you that drove from a few hours away, and you're the only people doing it in your market. I know in Fort Wayne, we're just getting started, and there's not a lot of proof yet. Okay, there's only a few BMWs getting driven. There's only a few success stories. I get that. So guess what? If you're a pioneer, you got to be tough, because the pioneers take the arrows. And that's what happens with the first group in every market. They got to be the people that are tough enough to take some arrows from their friends. Okay? But here's the deal. There will be 100,000 people that do World Ventures in the state of Indiana. And they will be on somebody's team in this room because we're here first. So the pioneers take the arrows, but guess what? We get all the freaking land when it's said and done. So we just need a few people. I'm just telling you guys, just lock arms no matter what happens. This group, just stay together and just go get this thing. And 1 year from now, your life will look completely different. Thanks for paying attention.